Without further ado, I want to go ahead and have David speak about the apprenticeships and Emily also to give her insight. And then any of the questions you guys have towards the end of this session will be can be answered when you guys when we're done with the presentation. So if you're not presenting, go ahead and turn off your camera so we can just have David and Emily present, and you guys have the floor.
Great, thank you, Ms. Taylor Cruz. And Ms. Remy, yeah, thanks for the invitation. And I will be a relatively minor part of today's presentation, so you'll be hearing more from Emily because she actually is the real apprentice. And the goal of today is real simple, to tell you a little bit about what CareerWise is, try to sell you a little bit on the opportunity, and then to answer any questions you have, and to talk about next steps if this is something you're even remotely interested in doing. We would encourage you to do it. So in a nutshell, what it is an opportunity that mixes essentially hands-on learning with school-based learning, which is something that we, I used to be a high school teacher. We've been trying to do for decades and decades, and usually not successfully. Apprenticeships is, in my experience, the best way to mix actual out of the classroom learning within the classroom learning. So if you are somebody who likes to work with your hands and build things and fix things, then wouldn't it be cool if you could spend half your week building things and fixing things, getting paid for it, getting high school credit for it, even getting possibly some college credit for it, and then the rest of the week at Westminster High School. Or if you think you might want to work in in a bank maybe someday, but you've no idea what would be like to work in a financial setting, wouldn't it be cool to spend half the week working at a bank or a financial institution and half the week working at Westminster as a regular high school student? So that's what CareerWise is. Westminster is perfectly situated. I mean, you have your, Ms. Ruby and Ms. Taylor Cruz bend over backwards to help students make this happen, to help them build a schedule that works. You've got a principal who's supportive. You've got kind of the whole administration and teachers are supportive. You're located in a good spot. You're near the light rail, so you're near many jobs downtown, et cetera. So that's the purpose today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Emily, and she'll describe a little bit more some of the nuts and bolts, and start thinking about questions you want to ask her. And feel free to ask kind of any hard question. Like ask her what's good about being an apprentice and what's tricky about being an apprentice. So we hope the most of this session today is you guys asking questions and then looking for next steps to apply. So we're going to start with a little video, and we'll see if this works. Hopefully it will. It's about a 1-minute video, and I think it just kind of nicely describes what CareerWise is.
Dave, if you can
Oh my gosh.
control and then click on the link, you'll be able to open it up. Hey, Dave, I think you're...
See how happy Josue is? Yeah, so what CareerWise is meant to do is provide simply another option for you. Do you guys have, before I pass it over to Emily, who's going to maybe talk about some of the nuts and bolts, do you guys have any questions thus far from what we've said? Yeah, and it would be great if you could add your name, grade, and email in the chat. Okay. So Emily, you are well, actually, I'm going to go off script a little bit here, Emily. Tell me why you decided even to apply to be an apprentice.
Great question. Honestly, I've always been the type of student kid my entire life who had absolutely no idea what they were going to do when they grow up. I think I went through every career in the book, starting off all the way from like wanting to be a teacher to an astronaut, etc. And so when I heard about this, actually from a student in my art class, it interested me, and I've always kind of wanted to open any door possible for my future. I'm very future driven. So just hearing about this, I wasn't too sure about it at first, but once I started talking with the Future Center and hearing back from businesses, that really excited me. And then I think once I got to like the interview stage, I was like very certain that this was an opportunity I wanted to take advantage of. So just working with the Future Center and learning as much about it, like just captured my interest.
Cool. So it sounds like you thought it was a good way to explore maybe what you wanted to do in your future,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's definitely one solid reason for doing this. So, you know, some people think they want to be an accountant, but it's really not until they do an apprenticeship and actually figure out when they're doing real accounting work, whether they want to be an accountant. So would you mind going into the nuts and bolts of actually how it works? You know, it's a 3-year program, but if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen and going through the nuts and bolts, that would be great.
Emily, your audio's off.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Were you guys able to see my screen okay when I?
Yeah,
Yes,
we could see your screen.
We just couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well then, back to that. Let's see, we've already gone through this video. As far as the ins and outs of CareerWise, just a little baseline. I know some of you guys who maybe have already created a profile or applied to jobs might know this. But basically, the general layout of an apprenticeship starts in, ideally, your junior year. You'll work 12 to 16 hours a week on the job at whatever employer or company you guys get hired on at, and then you'll go to school the remainder of the week, so 3 or so days, and then it gradually lessens over the years. So the second year you'll go to school less days, work more hours, 20 to 24, and then by the third year you'll hopefully be graduated, give or take, depending on the time that you start. You'll be graduated working at full-time, if not around that. And then over the course of your apprenticeship, you will work with your employer on any sort of external training, whether it's college courses, certifications, actually an industry recognized certification. So you can use that in the future on your resume, but also apply it to the work that you're doing. So we have a bunch of different paths in like business, financial service, advanced manufacturing, IT, healthcare, which is a pretty common, popular one. And then there's also a ton of positions near Westminster right now that are actually already open on our hub. So the companies listed here are just a few that are within a decent distance from our school. And I guess I don't want to, skip over any questions. So if you do, just stop me. But the next step would be to create a profile and apply to these. So if any of these look, or you're just curious about them, you can visit our website over at CareerWise Colorado right here. But I want to leave some room for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to just pop them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Can you actually back up just a little? Can you get back up to the job slide real quick? I mean, I
Yeah.
wonder if it'd be useful. I mean, I think we're still accepting, you guys are still accepting applications for the Westminster positions. Miss Remy or Miss De La Cruz, would be willing to say a word or two about the jobs that they're actually hiring for it at the district itself?
Go ahead, Ms. Remy.
Go ahead, you say?
Yeah, just go ahead.
All right, so there are 3 positions. The first is our business operations associate. That's actually in our warehouse. So you'd be working in our warehouse, working with purchasing, logistics, shipping, working with contracts, helping provide supplies for the entire district. So it's a pretty cool, unique position if you're interested in business and especially like shipping and things like that. We have a maintenance tech position that will work around the district, helping with basic repairs, plumbing, electrical, machinery, so very hands-on position. And then we have an IT desktop support. So basically anytime I'm having issues on my computer or any other teachers having issues on their computer, you'll be the person that we would call, and you would help us remotely with tech concerns. So those are the 3 positions we have.
Great, thank you. And you know, sometimes transportation is an issue for jobs, but this is a case obviously where that won't be. And normally you're also essentially competing with students from other districts. In this case, it would be just Westminster students. So 3 great jobs. Namaste CAD designer, if anybody's interested in solar, renewable energy, and is pretty good with, say, graphic arts or has done any CAD work by chance, it would be a perfect job. So if somebody decides they want to get solar panels on their roof, somebody has to do some designing of where those panels go. That might be you. That's what they want to hire somebody to do. Craig Hospital, if you're interested in nursing or medical, it's one of actually the nation's, if not the world's best rehabilitation hospitals. Fantastic. Conversant, if you're way into computers, it's a great company. It's downtown. You can get there through light rail. You'd be coding. CareerWise, what a fantastic organization. So they're hiring in HR and also software. Again, if you're an IT person and you want to learn specifically databases, Intertech, great company. Our CEO actually is the owner of that company. If you're interested in technology, maybe you want to be an engineer, or if you like to fix things, it's a great thing to look for. If you're interested in accounting, a leading accounting company is hiring. It's a little bit of a drive, so that one might be too far. Janice Henderson is in Cherry Creek. I think many of you could probably get there. It is, again, if you're good at computers, you want to fix computers. I will also say, you don't have to be like a star in any of these areas to begin with. In fact, this summer, you would spend probably 4 or 5 weeks on some online coursework learning, say, IT support. So it may be you're pretty good at computers, but you don't have your credential yet. Why would you? You're only 16. So, or if you're interested, maybe you've never taken a CAD class before, but you're really interested in solar, like they can actually help train you. So don't be intimidated if you don't feel like you have the full skill set going in. They don't expect you to. They expect you to be hungry to learn. They expect you to have some skills, like IT desktop support. If you need to know what a computer is, but you don't necessarily need to know how to fix everything about computers. Anything you want to add about that, Emily, or anyone else on the phone?
I would actually love to show a couple videos of some of our students that,
oh, great.
I just put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to watch all of them later, you can. But I want to share, these are some of my favorite videos. Not only did our VCA crew and our students create them, but they're some of our students that, oh, I don't think that's right. I'm sorry. So if you guys want to go to our website, which I thought I had, no, hold on, sorry guys. Dave, also, oh, there it is. I wanted to also show them the list of jobs that are available. So can you guys see this future modern youth apprenticeships?
No, the only screen we see is, I think,
An email
like middle
from
school
you.
planning, future planning.
Okay, that one, is that it?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Find your future.
So Miss Remy does a really great job of posting all our videos, and these are modern youth apprenticeships. So this is you can go to the main page of Future Center, go all the way to jobs and internships, click to the apprenticeship CareerWise Colorado. There's other kinds of apprenticeships. So this is not to be confused with other kinds of apprenticeships. There are many others, but this is a special one because it's CareerWise, and we start you guys off as your 10th graders. Other apprenticeships don't really necessarily take students until they're maybe 17, for sure 18. So being in CareerWise helps you because you guys can start at 16. So Cal graduated last year. Valerie graduated last year. And then we have a whole other slew. Ms. Remy, I thought apprenticeship stories of different apprentices. And like here's Emily. There's how cute she is. And we had questions about what they were doing around COVID. Here's Cal. Angelica worked for the Colorado Department of Higher Education. Cal worked for SAS Manufacturing. Emily works for CareerWise. Iomi graduated 1 year early because she loved her job so much and worked at Home Advisor, got this CareerWise job and decided she wanted to leave. Now she's a full-time person there. And what's her job title now, Ms. Remy?
I think she's like the director of cybersecurity. It's really impressive.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
she's what, 18? She's like 18?
Not even, maybe now, but she graduated as a junior. She's a rock star. Like Iomi is a rock star, and they all are. Tyler right now is a senior. He's also at Home Advisor. And Valerie is she still at Geotech? No.
No, she's at CSU. So.
She finished her 3 years at Geotech and now is going to CSU as a full-time student. So she's over in Fort Collins. But I want to show you guys, these are all the students we've had share their stories with us. But let me show you guys their fun videos. This one's fun. I like Hal's.
Currently, I'm working at SAS Flight Factory. I've been working here for about 6 or 7 months. It's a lot of fun, and I love coming here every day. It's fun to learn. Daily, I'll check on the machines, make sure the oil levels are correct, check the coolant levels, and then just check in with George and see if he has anything for me. The thing I'm most proud of is probably using SolidWorks and just getting learning how to program. Well, the biggest takeaway is probably like that they can help you get a job and like help you find out what like pathway you want to take when you're in college and find a good career for you. CareerWise has been a big help in finding a career that's right for me and getting a career that I want to pursue.
Cool. That's the first one. And then now we have Valerie at Geotech.
I'm working for Geotech Environmental Equipment, and they build environmental equipment for water sampling and air sampling. Especially it's in the accounting intern, so I'm working around the accounting department and trying to figure this whole department out and trying to work my way around it. I've been working here for about 2 years now. It's fun. I would like my coworkers and I enjoy working here. It's a challenge, so I like a challenge. I work really close to my supervisor, Robin, and we kind of just look at the day and what's needed and what checks that we send out to vendors. And of course, they provide me with this apprenticeship, and I'm getting college credit. It's helping me to multitask and better time manage and working very close to coworkers and communicating. Well, I wasn't very good on communicating my time management with other people, and I feel like now I'm very consistent on that. It's actually pretty fun. You know, my boss, Luann, she's fun to work around. You know, she's a helpful person, and my coworkers are really funny. So at least to laugh. It's not all like scary and working in an office. So, but yeah, I get my job done and it's fun just working. I don't dread coming to work. I actually like being here. Good thing to put on your resume. It's a good experience. You're putting your foot in the door and trying to find opportunities for yourself.
Okay, so those are the two videos I wanted to share with you guys. And there are students just like you guys. And yes, it's complicated. Yes, it's hard to describe what does my year look like. And when you guys apply, when you get the ball rolling, like we can all speculate what it's going to look like, but we really don't know until you guys get offered a job. So at the end of the day, we're just like, just apply to several jobs, apply to more jobs. And if it doesn't work out, it's a really great process. And if you're a 10th grader, you can try again next year. And so it's just one of those really exciting things. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. If you guys don't get a job here, we have a hiring fair that's in April. These are just stepping stones that you guys can get into in order to start applying to jobs that actually can align in with your career. I don't knock any other jobs that are part-time, but these are solid jobs that you guys will have for the next 3 years. Questions?
Thank you. Thanks for showing those videos. That was terrific.
Yeah. What do you guys have for questions? Some of the most common questions are, what does my schedule look like? How am I supposed to work and go to school at the same time? Miss Remy.
Emily, what if you take, can Emily answer that one maybe?
Yeah.
What's that been like for you, Emily?
Working in school at the same time, or which one of her questions?
Yeah, working in school, anything, but especially schedule.
And you're an athlete and you work. So I always tell students, you don't have to give up being an athlete to be in CareerWise or any other dreams that you want to do here at school.
Yeah, definitely. Granted, I do work for CareerWise, so I can't necessarily speak for other companies, but most employers are super, super flexible. You're a student first, and so they understand that. They sign up for that. They completely understand that you are 16 and your education is your priority. So your employer, Ms. Salek, who's in Ms. Remy, it might also play in with your counselor and administrator, but they all work together to communicate and find a schedule that works best for you, whether it's mornings, every other day. For me personally, before COVID, I had worked mornings and then school in the afternoons. And then on Wednesdays was full days. So I got exempt from AE on Wednesdays. And then I'm also a 3-sport athlete. So working in the mornings worked out terrific for me. I was able to attend practices in the afternoons. Right now, given COVID, I still work. It's midday for me now. I attend school for first and second period, work like 5 or so hours, and then I'd go to swim practice or cross country or track given the season for me.
And since you've been an apprentice, I know you've increased your personal best records, and I think wouldn't you attribute that directly to being an apprentice, Emily?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, we can't guarantee you'll swim faster, run faster, but and I will say just a little bit, like Emily's a little rare in making that work with 3 sports, so there is a limit to what you can manage. Like if you're also class president and this and that, it probably won't work, but you probably, you may be able to be still in band or in swimming or whatever, but all right, so there's a question. You mentioned you train people for jobs. Emily, do you want to take that question?
Sure. So as far as training and certifications, that's a fantastic question. And short answer, yes. Starting this cycle, we will be hosting some like trainings before your apprenticeship. So you'll take, I think it's like 4 days a week from like 9 to 12. You'll do a training over the summer for like 2 months, prepare you for your apprenticeship. And then throughout your apprenticeship, you'll work with your employer to either get certified in some sort of credential inside your industry. And then some employers will also pay for some like related instruction during like college courses.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. I mean, just to reinforce, every pathway has a credential that we've talked to industry and like, which credentials could a 18-year-old reasonably get and would that actually have some value in the industry? And there's even some flexibility in choosing. In fact, right now with Emily, we're selecting that credential right now, and we want to make sure we're picking one that's going to be valuable. So absolutely. Joey, what area are you interested in? What type of apprenticeship? I think you're still on mute.
Cybersecurity
Cybersecurity.
or
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Oh, would you
So-
rather me use my like actual mic?
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
So do you know some coding then, Joey?
I know a little bit, yeah, Python and JavaScript.
Yeah, I wonder if you should consider the CareerWise IT job. Well, maybe the Westminster IT job, CareerWise, and then, what's Conversant? Conversant, I think, would be a great one. Those are 3 jobs you should apply for, especially if you have access to a car.
David,
If
can
don't
you
have
know the list of jobs that you guys have currently available, like that sheet that you shared with us, a Google share?
Yeah, I can see if I can do that. But I think what Emily put together is pretty good. So let me.
Do you have that? Do you guys have
Emily-
a list of jobs?
Emily, do you want to go back to your PowerPoint real quick, if you don't mind, and I'll try to find the.
Dave, I actually have, are you talking about like the weekly recruitment with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Can-
yeah, I can share that as well. I think I have that.
Yeah, maybe share that if you don't mind.
Mhm. Yeah. Give me 2 seconds.
So for the students that are contemplating or haven't quite pulled the trigger on a profile, so there are 3 different apprenticeships here at Westminster. And they're all different. There you go. So the Westminster Public School Maintenance Tech, nobody has applied for. That one is really pretty simple. Somebody who likes to build things, fix things. The IT desk job support, we have an applicant, but that's the one I think that Joey was interested in, and I think he should apply. Obviously, we want more people to apply. And so these Westminster Public School jobs will only take our students. So those are just open to our students. The Business Operations Associate, I think we have 2 applicants. So again, that's for somebody who wants to work in purchasing and warehouse management. Probably more office work, I think. That one is kind of like just support. And then the other ones, if you look at the location on the second column, the one, Emily, if you can scroll down, these are where all the other ones are located. Now, if you don't have a car, some of these will be really difficult to get to. So you're either going to take a bus, a light rail, which is still a mile from here, or you can have your parents take you. I mean, Emily took a job at CareerWise, and that was difficult to get to for a bit, but she was lucky enough that her mom helped take her. And even at that, it was still a little difficult, right, Emily? But then I think you got your own car.
Yeah, we also used Hop Skip Drive. It's like an Uber for minors. So it's a really safe sort of like carpool, kind of like Lyft, Uber, that sort of stuff.
Right, but it is expensive, and we were helping students with some of that, and we have some funds, but we don't provide it on a regular basis, right, Ms. Remy? Like
Yes, we can help you, especially if it's like a stopgap measure. Like if you are gonna get your car in like a year, but like maybe your parent can drop you off some of the time, but not all the time. It's kind of designed for that. It's not something we can get you to and from your internship or apprenticeship every single day.
So I notice we've got a Sam on here too. Sam, tell us what you're either in video or either in audio or in your chat. What area are you interested in, Sam?
I'm actually here on behalf of some other students, and I was actually curious about the transportation and if it was worth trying to apply for these apprenticeships further away from the school if you are kind of spotty. So that was helpful.
Hi, Sam. Sam's from Trio, and where a couple of our key students have come from. So she helps a lot of the students there with stellar resumes. And so they help them along this process. They're kind of like an extension of the Future Center, but just for TRIO students, which is awesome. So I'm glad Sam is here as an advocate, because I mean, they really push college-bound students, but in addition, they know that this has also worked with students that have been college-bound, which Valerie was one of theirs. Angelica was also in TRIO, and I don't know who else on that list, but they made it work. And being in TRIO and in CareerWise was a great way to learn how to manage your time, but they did it. And students do it all the time, but you do have to be mature enough to want to do this. This does take a level of maturity that puts you guys aside from wanting, you know, to have a lot of free time. And ask Emily, she can help you guys to tell you in another session how to manage your time as a busy student. And that goes for a lot of other students who don't know. Maybe they have too much time on their hands, and sometimes having too much time isn't great. It's probably worse than not having enough. But
I mean, I think sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I actually wanted to underscore something you said. I mean, I think it's important that this be seen not as an alternative to college. Like, you can absolutely go to college afterwards. It would just be a year later, and you would have, I would guess, a much better idea what you want to study. So, you know, if college has been in your head for a long time, that's fantastic. You can still be in your head. You may actually even get into a better college because of this. We did interview a bunch of college admissions officers and asked them, and several of them, even at some fancy schools like Notre Dame, thought it would actually give a student an advantage if they had, you know, and the students that actually start a year later, take this kind of gap year, they actually graduate at higher rates than people who don't take a gap year. So you can also share that with your parents. This is definitely not the opposite of college. It could fit nicely in college.
Yeah,
college.
so any other questions? If you want to continue scrolling down, I have sent some of these lists. I condensed the list for our weekly emails that I send out to our students, because a lot of these are kind of far. But when you create your profile, you can go in and look from 10 miles to 15 miles to 5 miles from the school. And this is what it looks like. And so here's your, I'm a student, you click on apply, you click on create a, you can explore open apprenticeships, but just create a profile, and then click create a profile. And this is where you know, put in your, Emily put in already her information. So you'll put your first and last name, your email, and your password, and then you click sign up.
Fair warning, this will probably take me to my sort of like audit account. So this will look a little bit different if you're fresh creating a profile. You'll have to go through this sort of like pretty short question, like survey, I guess, where it just asks, you know, your basic contact information, your parents, and then it'll ask some written response questions, I think just 2, which employers will use to look at and use in the interview process. But as far as viewing apprenticeships, you click down on this button right here, and it will take you to this page. You'll be able to sort through by pathway, distance, as well as keywords. So this is sort of our list. Granted, be a little bit cautious because some of these are in other regions, like Eagle County. That one I don't think you'd want to apply to. But there are ones like Ms. Daliku says where you can choose by distance. And it will kind of filter it out. This one actually wasn't on the list. It just recently got posted. But after you create a profile, you'll be able to apply and just kind of take a look and see quick facts, who they are, what you'll do in your role, etc.
Yeah, and that map on the right-hand side is key. I tell students all the time, look, number one, you need to talk to your parents, because if my kid was taking a bus downtown or wherever these places are, I'd want to know, and I'd have to have their permission. So I don't know how long it would take you. The light rail runs once an hour over here. It does get you downtown in like 12 minutes, but again, be cognizant of location. So that's where it gets tricky. So, you know, have several jobs that you have, apply to several of them if you're interested. And we've had students drive to them with their parents to scout out where they are located to see if it's feasible. That's probably a really great way to do it as well.
That's a great idea. I mean, I can think of actually one student in Jeffco that actually even accepted an apprenticeship, and it was just too far, and he only lasted a month because it was just too far. So yeah, you're not doing anybody any favors if you accept a job that's too far. So I think that's actually a great suggestion to maybe try it out, see if you can get there.
Yeah, so if you guys are looking for jobs related in your field, like we just got a message, I get it. You guys are really young, but I think getting your foot in the door with any IT job right now is killer. So when networking is everything. The more people you guys know in this industry, the better jobs start opening up. And especially if you start, like, make sure you guys apply. If you qualify for the jobs here on campus, especially the IT one, apply for that. So you would go here, click on the IT desktop support for Westminster, Emily. Thank you. And then this is what you'll make, $12.32 an hour. It's located on 72nd, so it's over at the tech building. And this is all the things that you're going to need to know. I mean, somebody was surprised that you guys are going to get para, which is like for retirement. I mean, basically there's nothing you're going to pull out at this point, but you're going to build it up, and you can, whenever you get an actual career job or another job that offers retirement, you can roll it over. So that's really cool. A lot of adults don't even have that in some of their jobs. And like I said, this will be a job you'll have for the next 3 years. So when you are in college here, if you're going to college locally, you will still have a job, and that is pretty amazing because a lot of people are still looking for jobs, and these are great jobs.
I'll also add here, especially if you have like an interest in a specific part, but like, so let's say you want to do cybersecurity and you apply for another IT job. So cybersecurity is such a like involved piece of most tech departments that if you tell them you want to do cybersecurity as part of your job, they're going to train you to do that. It is, that one specifically is so high in demand right now that even if it's not a job specifically related to cybersecurity, if you tell them what you're interested in learning more about, they'll help you shape your apprenticeship. The apprenticeship providers are really interested in working with you and making it both something where you can learn a trade that is going to benefit the industry as a whole, but also you. So they want to help you use your time wisely. So if you tell them, I'd like to learn more about this, they'll help you do that too.
That's what happened with Naomi. She specifically wanted to go into cybersecurity, and now she's the director of, I don't even know what, for home. I mean, it's amazing. It's impressive. But she didn't start off being in the cybersecurity department. She's working her way through it, and she absolutely loves it. So maybe she decided not to do cybersecurity. She decided she loved something else because she there's a whole world out there you guys can explore while you're doing all of this. Any other questions?
I will say we're kind of in the middle of the hiring season now. So if this is of interest to you, I would get going soon. The profile takes about 15 minutes to fill out. It then goes to Ms. Remy and Ms. De La Cruz. If they see that you're on track to graduate, they'll approve you. Next step is to write a resume. You may already have one started. Again, Ms. Remy De La Cruz and Emily and I could help you with that if you want. You could actually share it as a Google Doc and we can make comments. We're doing that right now with somebody. And then you can apply for as many jobs as you want, and it's free to apply. There's no cost to this program. You can tell that to your parents too. So those are the next steps.
If your parents are curious, Emily, can you click on like some of the videos where parents are chatting about, you know, how they enjoy, how much CareerWise has helped their child.
It may be hard to find on the fly. We have some of those videos in this.
Oh, if you go to the main CareerWise page, the home, and then if you like go down towards the bottom,
Hold on, I'm
Congratulations.
still in my account, so I
Oh,
don't.
you are? Okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
let me
Okay,
log out.
never
really
mind. So if you guys go to the main CareerWise and you go to our stories, they're stories of employers, staff, partners and funders, just parents. So just so you guys know, CareerWise does it right. If I love the way anybody does things is CareerWise. They know how to appeal to students. They create these really great short videos that for parents, questions for students, partners, and they're hiring and they're partnering up with different companies all the time. So so here's a grown-up parent story. How long is that? You might want to share your,
A little
wait,
hard to,
you can't hear it. Yeah.
yeah. I guess point is if your parents have any
Right.
questions, they could watch some of these videos or they could talk to anybody in the screen and we'd be more than happy. Because yeah, I think that's totally fair that they would have some questions. I would hope they would have some questions.
Okay. So what's the plan of action? Who of the ones that are listening, who's going to apply? That link is there. We should see a plethora of like new profiles starting tonight. So Ms. Remy and I are going to go in and I reject a lot of them, just so you know, because I want to see a good resume. No, I don't reject them and say, I don't want you coming back. I reject them because I want you guys to you're competing against other schools. Essentially, if you're not applying for Westminster, if you're applying for another company, you are competing against other students. So I will hound you down about your resume and ask Emily. We worked a lot on her resume, and once you get it done, it's nice because then you can just update it and it's good to go. But it does take some work. So it looks like we have one taker. Yay! In our chat. I need to see that. I need to see that profile today. So I've been waiting for that profile to start. I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to embarrass you, but been waiting for that one for about a week and a half. Anyone else?
Yvette, I just had a quick question. I know I was private messaging Emily, and so it sounds like that list in the Google Doc, jobs will be added as they are available. And then I just wanted to know, is there any deadlines that we should be aware of? Or is it just apply as soon as you can?
What's the deadline, April?
Well, I mean, we expect much of the hiring to be done within the next month. So, you know, early to mid-April, we expect much of the hiring to be done. Those jobs, Sam, anybody can go on to right now and check the updated jobs. There's a new one on there. Ready Foods is on there now. So what I just collected the kind of closest jobs and put them in that little Google Doc. So yeah, you don't have to wait for that Google Doc to be updated. You can go on there. Any of your students can go on there today and look through. The thing is, they'll just have to scroll through a long list that includes jobs like from New York and Indiana, which is a little bit of a pain in the neck. But I'll actually try to update the Westminster list. And Sam, I'm happy to, maybe we can send you that list too. You know, I'm sure Ms. Remy or De La Cruz has your email. So we can, or actually, Ms. De La Cruz, would you mind just forwarding that, sharing that document with Sam?
Yeah, and Sam, I know that David and Marisol have been speaking about him going to one of the cafes. I know he's been to, when they had the Wolfpack Wednesdays here, I know he's been there to speak about CareerWise, and that's how we got a few others to apply. But now that it's virtual, I mean, you might want to remind her, or David can just follow back up with her. I know you guys were chatting. David, did you guys set up a date?
I don't think we have a date, but I think that's a good idea to check back in and get something on the books.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up. Thank you, David, and I'll definitely be in touch. This was so helpful.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. And thank you,
other
Ms. Remy, Ms. De La Cruz,
questions?
and Emily, especially. Emily, any last words you want to share with the group?
Honestly, I just say, even if you're like the tiniest bit curious about the program and interested, just get the profile started. There's no commitment filling out the profile. The only commitment comes after you apply to jobs. So if you're interested, just get yourself in that sort of pipeline. And you know, you'll start hearing about it more. It'll be easier once you're in here to have communication with us, to answer any questions that aren't necessarily coming up now. So my suggestion is, if there's even just a hint of interest, fill out the profile.
Yeah, Emily, why don't you tell people what you plan on doing after? So this is your second year. You have, and you're a senior. You have one more year in your apprenticeship. What are your plans for your third year?
Third year, just, you know, keep working here. I don't have any sort of plans on quitting or like going through that college route. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm college bound. So after my apprenticeship, I'll kind of just gauge how it takes me this last third year. If the opportunity arises that I get to continue my employment with CareerWise, that's fantastic. If not, business is definitely something I'm interested in. So I'll probably find a job somewhere in this industry.
Cool, but are you planning on, didn't you apply for like the military or maybe reserves?
Yeah, that's a little less likely. I went into the apprenticeship thinking that I'll enlist in the Coast Guard. That's a little less likely right now.
Okay, cool. So just so you guys know, you're not limited to your options, but we ask you to be committed to the 3 years. And so that's what the employers have committed to you, and we ask that you guys commit to them those 3 years. So cool. So any other questions, y'all? Tell your friends. I mean, this is a pretty cool gig, really cool gig. I wish all students can do this.
Well, thanks for setting this up today. Sure appreciate it.
Yeah, so if you guys any other questions, you guys know that you can reach out to the Future Center. We're here.
Really quickly, I'm going to pop my work email into the chat. So if any questions do come up, feel free to email them to me. Let me add that really quick.
Is this recorded? Can you guys send the link?
We are recording this. It'll be on our YouTube page. Let me give you the link to that so you can go onto it later and we'll pull it. We're gonna put it up. Sorry, let me grab it real quick.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yes. Do you have any other questions?
No, not at the moment. Like I said, I joined late, so I'll check out the link first, and then if I have any questions, I'll email you guys.
Yeah. Are you interested in for yourself or was it for somebody else?
It's actually for my son. He's sick right now, so you know he's sleeping because I gave him medication to knock him out, and so I'm listening on for his behalf. But he's
Okay.
at an age where he can work.
Yes. So I put the link in the chat where our YouTube channel and all our videos live, and I'll be uploading this once it registers, and I'll put it in there, and then we'll put our information there and you guys can contact us and we'd be more than happy to help. All right, everyone.
Great.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
I
joining us.
will watch it with him.
Okay, great. Well,
All right. Thanks, everyone.
we'll see everyone later. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of the beautiful day.